Welcome back to Small Caps. My name is Kerry Stevenson, and today I have got double trouble for you. I have Kevin Mac Neill, who is the CEO, and Kim Cavallaro, who is the Chief Commercial Officer of, wait for it, guys, get your pens out, was Speciality Metals, which was the ASX code was SEI. And just last week, they're now called EQ Resources. EQ, probably because they're really smart at what they're doing, and you're going to find out why in a minute. But EQ Resources, the new ASX code, really easy, EQR. Hey guys, welcome to Small Caps. Good to see you.
Hey Kerry, thank you very much for having us.
Now, I think the first up, I'd like to speak, if okay with you, Kim. Can you just give a brief overview of who are EQ Resources? I believe that you're positioning to be a top 3 tungsten producer, but just if you could give our listeners an overview of the company and what you're up to.
Yeah, sure. I can do that hopefully very succinctly in this first couple of minutes. So EQ Resources is a company that with a purpose, it's a purpose-driven company, and our new purpose statement is resourcing the new economy for a better tomorrow. The new economy is a reference to critical minerals and new economy minerals, which are those metals and minerals in high demand as the world experiences global shifts in industry, energy and sustainability. So that is where we're pitching. We currently have a flagship tungsten asset at Mt Carbine in far north Queensland, and there are 4 pillars of development that Kevin will be happy to share what we've been up to. And we also have a couple of gold assets in New South Wales. So that's us in a nutshell.
Well, Kim, you know I'm a gold nerd. So,
yes.
Everybody knows that about me. So we'll talk gold at the end, if that's okay.
Sure.
Tungsten's really interesting. Kevin, what are you doing up there at Mt Carbine? And what's interesting, why should people be sitting up and taking notice of EQ Resources?
Yeah, thanks, Kerry. I guess for a junior, we're in production and cash flow on 2 of the assets at Mt Carbine, which is one reason people should take notice. We have the tailings retreatment plant has been fully commissioned and we're in operation currently. It's producing quite well, and we've ramped up significantly and continue to do so. The second operating asset that we have is our wholly owned quarry operation, which we recently we're 2/3 of the way fulfilling a large $4 million road contract currently, which provides the company with cash flow, ongoing cash flow. It's a nice business. It ticks away. So we don't have to run back to the market every second or third month to get cash. And so, you know, it keeps the lights on, and it's quite lucrative business. And going forward, Kim and I have met with the current contractor, and they have 2 other large projects on the books next year that they think that we could be in competition for. So it's a tender process. Obviously, you can never say you're going to be a winner, but it looks pretty good. The third pillar of our development really is going to happen in 2021 is the ore sorting project on the 12 million ton waste dump. And those of you who don't know ore sorting, it's basically a debulking dry 40 millimeter, minus 40 millimeter system that you put the waste through the ore sorter, and you come out with 10 to 20 times the grade coming out, which goes over to the retreatment plant, which is already set up. So it's a big growth story. And the last pillar is our underground exploration that you would have seen some recent news releases on. Which will take it into a significant tungsten production, world-class asset, and that is well underway currently.
Kevin, you mentioned the, let's just go back, if you could, to the quarry. Yep. I'm not sure that the market's fully recognised that you've got cash flow coming in from this quarry business. When did you buy the quarry business? Is that part of the where the tungsten mine is? If you could just explain.
Yeah, exactly. It links together, which is really quite special. It is part of the waste dump from the old open pit operation, and the guys stockpiled 12 million tons of low grade material separately. It exists. It's a resource. It's a JORC resource. And it sits directly on the mine site by the retreatment plant, within 500 meters of the retreatment plant. And the ore sorter that we're talking about, Kerry, when you crush that down to 40 millimeters, we use that product into the quarry. So that the reject from the ore sorter goes to the quarry, and then they create extra products, road base, concrete aggregates, all kinds of things. So it's a real value add onto the operation.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that more resource companies don't do it. What a sensible way of doing it. And I guess it's going to give you cash flow, which means you don't need to go back to the market. You're not diluting shareholders. So from a shareholder point of view, this is bringing. How did you come across? Sorry to focus on this. I'm quite interested. When did you purchase the quarry, and how did you come across being able to do that acquisition?
Yeah, so if I could just take that question, Kerry. I think Kevin and I are both relatively new, so I think at this point we should acknowledge the very good work of the previous management in securing the acquisition, which happened in June 2019. And with the acquisition, it also brought with it an ability to control our destiny, because it was actually the Quarry Business that owned the mining leases on site. So prior to that, the company had been operating under a sublease arrangement. So it's been really, I think it's been a game changer for us to have the ability to control the mining leases directly. With the quarry operations, as you've mentioned, it does give us a byproduct revenue stream and allows us to be competitive on the world front as a tungsten producer. Just winding back on the history of Mt Carbine, it was a very successful operating tungsten mine back in the 70s and 80s. And as Kevin said, there was a massive open pit operation, and it's the low grade stockpiles, that 12 million tonnes of it, that we're now making the use of. So the site had always been a mining site for a while. The company itself has been in existence since 2006. But with these relatively recent game-changing events, this is what we're now currently leveraging and making a long-term play for, is based on the recent changes. The other change I would also mention is having secured the presence of a significant backer in the form of Chronomet. Chronomet is a German metals trading and commodities trading business. Globally, it has a global footprint, significant in its own right, with billion-dollar revenues and a couple of thousand employees. And so having them as a significant backer on our JV retreatment plant has been of immense help. You know, true to German reputation, they do things very well. And so they've brought with them world-class resources and world-class expertise, including Kevin. And so we're very fortunate to have Chronomet as a backup, and to have signed an offtake arrangement with them also in last year.
That's what I was going to ask. Can you just explain the structure of Chronomet? So they are going to be doing an offtake agreement with you, or is that set?
That's set, yes. And
just explain what the structure is with Chronomet.
Yes, so their Australian operation are our unincorporated JV partner on the retreatment. So on the processing plant for the gravity beneficiation plant for the tungsten, they're actually a 50% unincorporated JV partner. And then together as a JV, we've signed an offtake agreement with Chronomet Asia. And so Chronomet Asia has been buying our products since we've started producing them, and we've been producing since June selling and exporting tungsten.
Okay, so you are in production at the moment in the open pit?
Yeah, no, in the reprocessing, in the retreatment.
Okay. So
yes.
That was the retreatment that's in operation at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's another cash flow area for you.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Yes. We are in production in both the quarry and the tungsten production. Yes.
Yeah. Kerry, one thing I've failed to mention too is that the previous operators in 1985 drove a decline underground for about a half a kilometer, about 500 meters. And it's our intention in 2021 to re-access that decline. And there's several veins that are coming through. And we've developed a new strategy with our geologists to look at individual veins. The previous operator was going to look at a block caving model to get in underneath the open pit and drop masses of rock down in like putting 5 veins together and dropping the whole stope down, right? We've taken an approach where we want to get underground and start narrow vein, high grade, narrow vein mining on these. So we've reinterpreted the entire underground deposit, and we'll be testing that in 2021 and then into full scale production in 2022, which is, and we've extended the ore deposit 1.2 kilometers because we are chasing individual veins as opposed, and there's some of those high grade veins from the past that extend out 1.2 kilometers. So that's what we're approaching currently. And we have a full-time, 2 full-time geologists on staff now, plus we have a mining consultant that's also working with us continually.
Thanks, Kevin. I have to ask this. There's been a bit of a change on the management side of things. And Kim, you mentioned earlier that the company's been around since 2006. It seems to me like not a lot was happening, but now it's changing rapidly. Would that be correct to say? Like, it feels like it's been a bit flat, but now
yes.
You've got the quarry, you've got the retreatment, you've got cash flow
yes.
coming in, you're in production, and you've got a timeline. Would you just like to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I think it's been there was a period of care and maintenance. The company did experience a period of that, but as I said, the game changer came in the form of the acquisition of the Quarry Business and also in having secured the backing of Chronomet. So these are relatively recent events in the company's history. And so with the capital raisings that have occurred also in the last couple of years, we've been able to expand our shareholder base, and we've brought in new management team. I'm very fortunate to have joined a team that's as diverse and experienced as the team that we have. Amongst the 5 of us in the leadership team, we span 4 nationalities and different skill sets. So in metallurgy, in resources development, in metals trading, in engineering, and law and governance. So we're very fortunate that we have this very diverse team, and it's a skill set that's been deliberately engineered, if you will, so that we can be a long-term platform and build a very strong corporate foundation going forward. One of the things that is in my mandate is to focus on ESG, on environment, social and governance. I think in the mining industry, it's particularly important. We've experienced the fallout, the whole media has looked at the fallout in the Dugan Gorge fiasco. So it's something that investors and employees are really looking for mining companies to do well and to do authentically. And we feel that it's a competitive advantage for us if we can actually do it well. And on the environment one, at the essence of what we're doing at Mt Carbine is a mine waste transformation process. And that's good for us economically, but it's also good for the environment, for society. And so we're happy to be able to make money from a win-win proposition.
Yeah, that's good to know. But tungsten itself, I mean, it is a critical metal. Let's just talk a little bit about funding, because governments around the world are talking about the fact that this particularly is part of our new economy. Do you think that you're going to get some funding from governments, Australian government, or is that another way of funding potentially?
Yes, the government has announced a few grants, manufacturing grants, one in particular in relation to critical minerals processing. So we're looking very closely at what's on offer there. The details have not been established yet with the government, but we are in discussions. Only last week, Kevin and I had meetings with the critical minerals specialist advisor to Minister Keith Pitt's office. We also had a meeting with the Defence Minister, actually, through our association with AMEC. So these are conversations we're having. We've also met with the Critical Minerals Facilitation Office, the head, Jessica, and it's definitely chasing down leads and positioning ourselves so that we can be there to take advantage of any grants and debt funding that's available.
Yep. Well, because Australia, of course, is the second, I think it's either the second largest or the largest. We got a lot of tungsten, very little production, very little production.
Yeah. Just to add to Kim's comment, Kerry, we've already accessed $200,000 under the METS program that we're doing our ore sorting test work. we're matching funds. We're putting in 400,000, they're putting in 200,000, and we're developing the feasibility study on the ore sorter program with that backup test work that's being done.
There sounds like there's going to be a lot of news flow coming out. Now, it would be remiss of me not to say you did mention gold in New South Wales.
Yes,
we did.
What's going on? Tell me about gold.
I come from a gold background. Actually, I was a project developer for a Canadian mid-tier producer in West Africa for over 20 years. And so, yeah, I know gold quite well. Like, again, I'm not so much in the exploration side of the business, but on the development side of the business. So these are very high quality assets in Broken Hill district. We're identified that that's one asset. The other is Crow Mountain. It's against the Peel Fault. Others are chasing both sides of us, and we have the best portion of it, we believe. Sorry for the other guys, but so yeah, we've been our geologist team haven't been able to get up to those operations. I want them to get boots on the ground and just to give me a briefing on what they're seeing. But we are looking for larger, low-grade development style projects. We're not focusing on really grassroots exploration as a company. We're a development team, and that's what we're looking for. So yeah, that's what their mandate is, to see if it's something that we can drill off and put into production. Then we're in the game. If not, then we're going to be looking for partners.
Yeah. So but your main focus, I get, even though the gold is there in New South Wales, there's a couple of projects there. Your main focus is the tungsten project up in far north Queensland. Yep,
that's why we're here, is to drive that development straight ahead.
Well, you've certainly enlightened me on EQ Resources and what's going on. Who would like to take my final question, which is, why do you think that right now is a good time for investors to sit up and take notes? I mean, we've explained it pretty well, guys. They've got cash flow. That's got to be good. Maybe talk a little bit about the timeline and why you think it's a good time for investors.
Yeah, I'll take that, Kim, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then I'll let you finish off. So we're on, like I said, we're on a really fast track for development. We are in cash flow. We have the quarry business is expanding rapidly, and we intend to expand the quarry business rapidly. On the tungsten side, as I said, our ramp up, our environmental permits are into 1 million ton a year operation that we're working with DES on, getting that expanded there. We're working on the underground. So yeah, I think in a couple of years' time, if you're an investor, you don't have these ups and downs of a normal junior exploration. You got both, the best of both worlds. You have some exploration. You have we are in production. You have near-term expansion. Plus, you have the blue sky of the underground, which will be a very significant operation in the future. So that's why I would invest.
I just love the fact that you're in production and you've got cash flow. I think that's awesome, because there's so many out there that are just, let's keep exploring. Kim, over to you.
Yes, and I'll just add that we are in here for the long term. And as I've mentioned earlier, we've, as a leadership team, taken the time to reflect the direction and identity of our company. We have a very succinct purpose statement. We've also, I think it'll be remiss of me not to mention our people. We're currently around 40 people in terms of personnel, and our people have really worked hard. We've gone to the effort of also identifying values that we want to emphasize as a company going forward. There are 6 values. One of them I will mention in particular is digging deep and doing one better. And I think that our employees certainly exemplify that. And yeah, so it's just a very encouraging space to be in terms of culture and a long-term platform going forward. So we're very excited to move the company forward and exploit its potential.
Well, you certainly look like you've got all the ducks in a row, should I say tungsten in a row, quarries in a row. Guys, thanks so much for joining Small Caps today. Lots of news flow to come, ladies and gentlemen. If you knew about them before as Speciality Metals, make sure you write it down as EQ Resources. ASX code is EQR. Watch this space. Plenty of news flow to come. We'll be covering it here on Small Caps. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Kerry.